Welcome to Kindness Stories, where every story reminds us that compassion and courage can change lives in unexpected ways. Stay with us till the end, and don't forget to spread kindness wherever you go. Everyone in middle school knew Ellie as the quiet one. She was the girl who sat at the back of the classroom, her head buried in books, her soft brown hair falling like a curtain over her face whenever someone tried to talk to her. Ellie loved reading more than anything. Books gave her a world where people were kind, adventures ended well, and courage always won in the end. But real life felt different. At home, her mom worked double shifts at the diner, while her dad drove a truck and was gone for weeks at a time. It was mostly just Ellie and her little brother, Sam, who was only 6 but wise enough to know when Ellie came home with tears in her eyes. Ellie's biggest challenge was facing school every day. There was a group of kids, Jenna, the ringleader, her sidekick Margot, and a boy named Tyler who liked to record their mean tricks on his phone. They never let Ellie pass in the hall without a comment about her clothes, which were usually hand-me-downs or thrift store finds. They would whisper about her hair, her shoes, the way she spoke so softly that sometimes even teachers had to lean in to hear her. It wasn't that Ellie didn't want to stand up for herself. She did, desperately, but every time she tried, her throat closed up, her hands trembled, and the words caught somewhere deep inside her. So instead, she found small ways to survive. She'd leave class a few seconds late to avoid bumping into them. She'd eat lunch in the library, tucked between shelves that smelled like old pages and ink. And at home, she'd pretend everything was fine because she knew her mom was already carrying too much. One Friday afternoon, everything changed. It was raining outside, turning the schoolyard into puddles and slick sidewalks. Ellie had stayed after class to help Mrs. Pierce organize books in the classroom library. She liked Mrs. Pierce. She was the only teacher who asked Ellie about the books she read and even slipped her a new novel every now and then. When Ellie finally packed her bag and stepped into the hall, the building felt eerily empty. Her footsteps echoed on the linoleum floor. She was halfway down the corridor when she heard it, the snickering voices behind her. She froze. She didn't have to turn around to know who it was. Jenna's laugh was unmistakable. Hey, Ellie. Jenna called, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Ellie turned, her eyes darting from Jenna to Margot and Tyler, who already had his phone. What's the rush? Jenna asked, stepping closer, her boots squeaking on the wet floor. I have to get home. Ellie murmured, clutching her backpack straps tighter. Go. We'll make this quick, Margot said, pulling a pair of scissors out of her pocket like it was a toy. Ellie's stomach flipped. She glanced around, but the hall was empty. No teachers, no students, just her and them. Please, Ellie said, her voice so soft she barely heard it herself, but Jenna was already circling her like a shark. We thought you could use a new style. Jenna sneered. She grabbed a handful of Ellie's hair, twisting it in her fist. Margot raised the scissors, giggling. Tyler kept filming, the red light blinking like a tiny heartbeat. Ellie felt something inside her snap. All the time she'd stayed silent. All the nights she cried into her pillow so her brother wouldn't hear. All the mornings she looked at herself in the mirror and wondered why she couldn't be brave. It all came rushing back like a tidal wave. And underneath it, there was something else. The memory of the day her mom had signed her up for a self-defense class. At the local rec center, she'd only gone for Sam's sake. He'd wanted to learn karate, and her mom couldn't afford a babysitter, so Ellie had joined too. Week after week, she practiced kicks, stances, and how to break a hole. She never thought she'd use it. But now, standing in the hallway with Jenna's fingers yanking at her hair, she remembered every move. Let me go, Ellie said, louder this time. Jenna laughed, tugging harder. Or what? Ellie didn't think. She ducked her chin, turned her body, and grabbed Jenna's wrist. With a quick twist, Jenna yelped and stumbled back, clutching her hand. Margot dropped the scissors in surprise, and they clattered across the floor. Margot began, but Ellie stepped forward. Her shoulders squared. She didn't shout. She didn't curse. She just stood there, breathing deeply, her heart pounding so loudly she felt it in her fingertips. Tyler lowered his phone, his mouth hanging open. He'd never seen Ellie like this. Stay away from me, Ellie said, her voice steady for the first time in what felt like forever. or next time. You'll wish you had. Asterisk. Jenna's face turned red with rage and embarrassment. For a second, it looked like she might lunge at Ellie again, but then she turned on her heel, pushing Margot ahead of her. Tyler scrambled after them, stuffing his phone into his pocket. Asterisk. Ellie stood there, her legs shaking, the adrenaline buzzing through her like electricity. When she finally exhaled, it felt like she'd been holding her breath for years. Asterisk. She thought the worst was over, but on Monday morning, the video was everywhere. Tyler had uploaded it before he chickened out. Ellie watched herself on tiny screens all over the cafeteria. The shy girl standing up to the bullies, her hands steady, her eyes clear. Some kids laughed, but most didn't. A few even clapped her on the back as they passed. For the first time, Ellie saw something in their eyes she'd never seen before: respect. Asterisk. Mrs. Pierce pulled her aside after class and told her she was proud of her. She said courage didn't always roar. Sometimes it was just standing up for yourself when no one else would. Ellie smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. Asterisk. At home, her mom hugged her so tightly Ellie could barely breathe. Her little brother, Sam, punched the air with his tiny fists. "You're like a superhero," he said, eyes wide with awe. Asterisk. That night, Ellie lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She realized she didn't have to change who she was. She didn't have to be loud or tough like Jenna to be strong. She could be quiet and still be brave. She could stand up for herself and for others. And maybe, just maybe, she could help others find their courage too. Asterisk. The next day, Ellie joined the self-defense club at school. She wasn't the best. She still stumbled over her words sometimes, but she didn't hide anymore. She met other kids who'd been bullied, kids who felt small and invisible. Together, they learned how to stand tall. They practiced throws and blocks and how to say no with their whole body. Asterisk. Word spread. The club grew. Even kids who'd never spoken to Ellie before showed up, wanting to learn. Ellie found herself talking more, laughing more. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was living. Asterisk. One afternoon, she saw Jenna in the hallway. They locked eyes for a moment. Jenna looked away first. Ellie didn't feel anger anymore. She felt sorry, maybe sorry that Jenna's world was so small she had to tear others down to feel big. Asterisk. At lunch, Ellie sat with Sam, who was visiting her middle school for an after-school event. He bragged to everyone that his sister could flip anyone over her shoulder if they messed with her. Asterisk. When the last bell rang, Ellie walked home in the golden light of early evening. She passed the library, the soccer field, the corner store, where her mom sometimes let her pick out a candy bar when they had a little extra. Everything looked the same, but Ellie felt different, stronger, lighter. Asterisk. At home, she found a note on the kitchen counter. Her mom had picked up an extra shift, but she'd left Ellie's favorite pasta in the fridge. Sam was already at the table, coloring a picture of Ellie in a superhero cape. She laughed, ruffled his hair, and sat down next to him. Asterisk. Are you really a hero, Ellie? Sam asked, looking up at her with big eyes. Asterisk. Ellie thought about it, about the girl she'd been, the bullies who'd pushed her to her limit, the courage she'd found when she needed it most. Asterisk. I don't know about that, she said, smiling, but I know I'm not afraid anymore. Asterisk. And for Ellie, that was enough. Asterisk. As the weeks turned into months, Ellie's story inspired others. A boy named Marcus, who used to hide in the bathroom to eat lunch, joined the self-defense club. A girl named Priya, who'd once been too shy to raise her hand in class, started leading warm-ups. They learned not just to protect themselves, but to stand up for each other. Asterisk. One afternoon, the principal asked Ellie to speak at an assembly about bullying. The thought of standing in front of the whole school made her stomach twist. But she said yes. She spent nights practicing in front of the mirror, reciting her words to Sam, who always clapped like she was a rock star. Asterisk.